with this type of programming that they just turn away and stuff, and then they just find their own little corner to and that's what's unfortunate about the internet. And also another important thing to point out as well is the suspended childhood that everyone's being programmed into. I talk about this a lot on Supreme Lord Commander, which is like they want to keep us in an infantile state, not just mentally but physically as well. So the beta males, the emasculation of the males, like if you look on YouTube trending every day, it's either satanic videos, transgenders, or it's beta males, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Good, so great subject, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is very dangerous because it's not that. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to say that if you're a beta male or you identify as that, that's a terrible thing. You can't be a decent human being, right? But I'm saying that really, ideally, with the deconstruction of the family, it used to be the father would give
So Josh, you going for a drive safe and safe discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe.
Parents would raise their kids, and the mother and the father would be the strong male sort of figure, and this is the balance, right? The yin and the yang that keeps everything together. This is so essential for what we are. All of every species, whether it's plants, trees, animals, we're all, this male-female sort of energy balancing itself out makes for harmony. But this is what they're eradicating. So when they take kids at a very young age and they start programming them, they also, distance, so parents aren't raising the kids anymore. Like parents now are working, like both parents are working now, right? So with the feminism too, this is really important. We haven't even touched the feminism yet. The feminism is a weapon to deconstruct family.
Absolutely.
And this is not for the benefit of women. This is actually to the detriment of women. Because ideally, the ultimate thing that any woman can be is a mother. That is the ultimate. I mean, what's more important, really, right? Even being like a physicist or a professor or a doctor or something, is it really more important than being a mother?
Right.
Not really, no. And women are most fulfilled and most happy when they have children, because then they have, they can grow old and they have their children, to keep them, happy and care for them when they get into older ages and stuff like that. So the feminism, which has been used over and over again to deconstruct the family nucleus, and this all emanates from Frankfurt, like the Frankfurt School and the cultural Marxist sort of, takeover of all the academic institutions in the 1930s, right? And it started in, I think, Berkeley and places like that, but it's everywhere now, where people are getting, black transgender, two-spirited PhDs and stuff like that now, right?
Right.
Just really trivial, stupid things that, are so ultimately, just part of the programming, right?
Well, that's something I want to just kind of throw in there too, is what they've done to the black community. And it makes me think of Margaret Sanger and how obviously they've targeted those communities with the ABORTION clinics and wiped out millions upon millions of those people because, naturally, black men are stronger. A lot of times they're built just stronger and bigger, and it's just fascinating how this system has really gone to kind of eradicate them.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all. In fact, yeah, of course.
And the dresses, I wanted to add in, and the dresses, as far as entertainment goes, that's another reason why all of our big, strong black heroes in movies and TV shows eventually have to wear the dress.
Oh, they all do.
Be humiliated. So go ahead, sorry.
That's all, no, 100%. This is all the deconstruction. So yes, it's absolutely true with Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. People don't know this because like most young people most of the women today are brought up with girl power. It's been around forever. Spice Girls, all these things. It's always been about deconstruction of family. It's always been about, and you say toppling the patriarchy. Yes, they do want to topple the patriarchy, but that is to the detriment of women. That's not to the help of women. And I talk about this a lot. I say, look, civilization is the way it is for good reasons. I mean, we used to be in tribes and stuff like that. We don't send women out to hunt down the mastodon. I mean, it doesn't work well. Men can't stay at home and have babies. So there's a good reason why males were the breadwinners and women were at home raising the kids and taking care of the community. And that's the way the natural balance, like I said, the yin and the yang, the female and the male energy and the female energy balancing itself sort of thing, which makes for the ultimate sort of, happiness and prosperity sort of thing. This is what they're eradicating. So for so long, they have been opening up these Planned Parenthood locations in black ghettos. This is where they target the most. Just like McDonald's and gun shops and alcohol places are opening up, this is all a strategy to depopulate, to take these people out of the gene pool. So it's eugenics. And Margaret Sanger was a major league eugenics, and so was Bill Gates. And many of the top, Henry Kissinger, I mean, so many of the elites that run our world are massive eugenicists. And they kind of conceal it, but if you pay attention, you can see it. You know, Bill Gates gets up on stage and, you know, gives his diagrams about how we can bring the population down. The whole global warming thing is all tied to this as well, because if you can convince the world that, you know, we all have the same problem, then we all are part of the solution, and then you convince people to stop having babies, and if you could program enough people into the rainbow, and you can get enough people to get abortion because of the Christ Church CC.
For Rin Tin Tin, Steven Spielberg movie, and they were doing a Freemason handshake. So I just pointed my camera at the screen and said Freemason handshake, and it was like 30 seconds. Right? And that was when I was like, oh, wait a second, I can create content? You know,
Yeah.
Anyway, but how about you, man? I mean, I know you've been around for a long time yourself.
Yeah.
Outside of us, and you want to kind of give them just a brief history of kind of the madness you
Yeah,
dealt with here?
absolutely. Thanks. Yeah, I started in 2012. And I originally started as a group show, so it was, you know, a few of my friends that we used to get around, you know, hang out, drink beers, and talk New World Order, basically. And we're like, well, why don't we just do this on a podcast? So I started up the channel Free Radio Revolution. We did that for about a year, and then I went solo after that because it was just so much distance between us, and it was difficult to keep the group show going, sort of thing. So I went on my own. And, you know, around that time, Sandy Hook happened, and a lot of, you know, Boston bombing, a lot of major events that I covered back in the day. And so the channel that I had way back then was Free Radio Revolution, and that channel got taken down, and I had Free Radio Revolution 1, and that got taken down. I had Free Radio Revolution Ultimate, that got taken down. Then I had Free Radio Revolution Uncensored, that got censored and taken down. Then I switched to New World Agenda, that got taken down, and then I had New World Agenda 2, and that got taken down. The only one that managed to stay up over the past few years was Supreme Court Commander, where I do more of the entertainment stuff.
Right.
But currently now, I'm on Jeff Censored and Jeff Censored Live, so.
Right. I got that link below as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been quite a ride, and I used to cover a lot of controversial things. I mean, I still do all the time, just like you. We're not welcome on these platforms for good reason, because we're going against the grain. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things I used to cover were the major events, like the shootings, the bombings, the terror events,
favorite, yes.
The beheadings, all those things that were very fishy. And we're not allowed to talk about those anymore.
Right.
Not what I talk about those.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a different world now. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we've seen so much change over, especially on the YouTube platform, because the YouTube has been a big part of waking a lot of people up.
Oh yeah.
You know, like all of us. I know you yourself, myself. We've watched a lot of incredible content over the years, learned so much, and so much of that content's being wiped out, or already has been.
Don't you feel like a dinosaur sometimes? I do. It's crazy. They got rid of AJ, man. They depersoned AJ. You know, it's insane. I mean, even though I have a lot of issues with that guy, it was still, I guess you get comfortable having him around. You know what I mean?
I believe that was a choreographed sort of thing to try to get all these people off that platform, because I sure fully believe that AJ is 100% controlled opposition. But,
right. And that would have been the ultimate use of him also as a tool to try to get all of us, just by him being vocal and him being kind of an idiot a lot of the time, right, on purpose, just saying over the top stuff, and then they can easily use him as they did, right, and just try to get all of us.
Well, I had a spook a few months back. I'm sure you know the channel Black Pigeon Speaks.
Oh yeah.
And he got his channel deleted. I don't know if that was choreographed too. But it happened, and all of a sudden, it was right after, you know, that YouTube had said they were going to clear out again, you know, ad apocalypse and you know, the purges one after another that they had. And when I saw that happen, and I was like, whoa, you know, like, and I was, a lot of people were scared. A lot of people were either removing their channels or removing their content. So I got spooked on Jeff Censored, and I basically deleted all my videos. Because I thought, well, if Black Fitness B's gonna get taken out, then it's just a matter of time before I do.
Yeah.
So I want to keep the channel because you know, losing the channels over and over and over again. Every time you lose it, you have to start from scratch. You know.
I know.
And it's pretty heart wrenching. So, you know, and then I cleared out a lot of content, and then Blackfish just got his channel back the next day.
Right. Thanks. Good job.
So, you know, I don't know if that's fishy or what, but you know, it is what it is. So, and they're talking now. I hear the rumblings all around that there's going to be a major purge, like the purge of all purges coming soon. That they're really going to clear out a lot of content. So it's so essential that we do everything that we can to maintain channels like your channel, you know.
And yours, yes, thank you.
Well, especially yours, you know, especially channels like yours, Really Graceful, you know, Stranger Than Fiction, like really big channels that have huge influence that are very good at reaching the mainstream are essential. Because I'm more controversial, like if, you know, people could, you're more accessible, that's what I would say to the
Absolutely, and on purpose. Yeah, I've always chosen to be careful how I title things and how I explain things, and sometimes showing things is easier anyway. And I've always been good like that. I don't think I've used an actual tag or tags in probably almost a year and a half now.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, like I mean, there might be some
anyway.
on my live shows, but yeah, the videos, I was just going tag free for a long time because that's how I responded to that new censorship. It's like, all right, well, I guess let's just roll the dice and see where this video lands. You know, hopefully people are going to see it.
Yeah, I used to use tags like New World Order.
Right, yeah. Illuminati, you know.
Yeah. Like no
Illuminati.
too. Like I've changed my titles where it's like I put the video late last night on PewDiePie, and you know, I could have put extra things in the title, but I just said the truth about the PewDiePie controversy sort of thing to keep it simple and you know, rather opaque, not like Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, hey, that's actually a good lead in as well, because you know, that's one thing, that's another reason I think we've always got along is we both can cover a multitude of topics. One topic we always come back to, those, you know, kind of the culture wars and all the madness that's happening in our culture, and a lot of that is happening on YouTube. Of course, YouTube is its own kind of psyop. Even doing the stuff they're doing to my channel and doing stuff to you and others. I mean, there's a psyop in that stuff as well. You know, there's a whole operation, many operations going on.
You're an operation.
And you've done a lot of deep digging on a lot of the biggest names in YouTube and found a lot of interesting things. Hey, did you see this on PewDiePie? This just came out today, I noticed. Maybe you'd already noticed it. He was wearing a shirt that has what looks like an iron cross on the collar.
Guess who exposed that?
Who?
That was
You?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. On my video last night, I showed that. It was the Iron Cross. And here he is talking about distancing from the alt-right because of the Christchurch CC shooting, which is very fishy, by the way. But I'm sure it's kosher. But yeah, he was trying to distance himself from that, and while he's saying that, he's got a prominent display of the Iron Cross in his collar. And I was saying to folks, that's not an accident. That's all part of the game that they play, in my opinion. I mean, people can have, you know, maybe you see it a different way. Maybe some people would chalk it off as him just being naive, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that he does a good job of playing dumb. You know, I don't think he's that big. Exactly. Not an idiot doesn't make 100 million subscribers. I mean, smart guy in a lot of ways, and of course he knows what the ADL is because they've been openly working with YouTube to censor people on YouTube, so he knows about this. And then the shirt, I mean, I get that it's from a fashion designer. I saw it online where there's other shirts that has a design label, and it does obviously. But I mean, out of all the things, he's dealing with the ADL, right? which is also connected with, it's kind of Jewish group, I think, right? I'm not sure, but.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
Okay, so yeah, so
People should know this. Really Graceful did an amazing video on the ADL about Leo Franks and where the ADL kind of originated. In the state of Georgia. It's very fascinating because it was a very controversial sort of rape and murder of a young girl.
Oh my goodness.
And it was blamed originally on blacks that were working in this factory sort of thing, but and eventually it was the Jewish sort of proprietor who eventually was convicted. But the ADL was kind of formed to counteract that, and they have been ever since, fighting against any sort of negative portrayal of Jewish people, basically.
Well, so see, and thanks for that background. So, of course, taking that into context, then, I mean, he's wearing this shirt that has an obvious, right? I mean, come on, he has to understand the irony here. I don't think he's that big of a dum-dum.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's why I said in my video, I said that you have to be born yesterday. I mean, there's no way that he gets up, and that's the only symbol that's really being shown. And and the way that he's standing. I mean, I'm telling people in the video, I'm saying this guy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's the biggest YouTuber in the world. He is one of the biggest celebrities in the world now. Like, he is one of the most recognizable people in the world. I mean, when people think of celebrities, they think maybe Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. Well, PewDiePie is right up there with them.
Yeah. But he has way more online, for sure, followers.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, these YouTube celebrities are more powerful because they're more immediate. Like, movie stars and even rock stars and hip hop stars, they have social media accounts and stuff like that, right? But they're not on YouTube every day putting up videos, directly connecting with their audience, directly talking to their audience. And the trick of the YouTube, the whole formula, which Shay Carl, the Shay Tarts kind of, and Shilly D, Philip Franco, and others, is that you come and you talk to the audience like they're your best friend, sort of thing. That's their formula, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you look at the camera and you look presentable, and then you try to portray yourself like you're a very honest person and you're very open. So that, and this is a guise, right? Because it has to be a guise, because really you're talking to a camera, you're not talking to real people, right?
Right.
But it's a formula that works. So what people need to understand is PewDiePie is the most successful guy. He lives in a mansion. He's got a whole studio set up. He's got a team of people that work for him. So his hair is, he might have a hairstylist, I don't know, to the extent of what he has when he's making his videos. But he is definitely not flying solo. And what I showed too, which is very important for people to understand this, I want everyone to listen to this for a second, because if you watch my video on this, on Jeff Censored, I point out the sponsor, because Philly DeFranco says that that honey is the likely culprit of who was responsible for prompting PewDiePie to make that donation to the ADL. And so if you look at his 100 million video, which is atrocious, I mean, he spends 2.5 minutes promoting this online surveillance. The first 2.5 minutes of the video is all about this company Honey, and every major YouTuber promotes this honey. Now I show the honey has the 666, much like the Disney, with the font.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, it's an app that you put in your browser that is there silently in the background. You don't have to do anything, All the top YouTubers promote it, all of them.
And what's its purpose again?
It's to save you money, so that when you're shopping, so you have the app on your browser, and you're doing all whatever you're doing, you're browsing, you're searching the web, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, right? Instagram. But then when you go to purchase something online, the app automatically comes in and saves you money. They find this is what they say, ostensibly, they're gonna find you the cheapest, the best coupons that are out there, and then immediately, you don't have to do anything because it's already active. So, and then I showed how a bunch of people were saying that since they put the app on their computer, that they got hundreds of junk mails and all these corporations sending them emails and all this stuff. So there's a lot of controversy whether this app is actually a surveillance device.
Oh, yeah.
And so all the top YouTubers, and I mean all of them, are promoting this. All the Disney media, Time Magazine, CNN, they're all promoting this app sort of thing. So it is possible, I theorize that it's possible that the Honey sort of app and the ADL are somewhat connected, and maybe they're trying to get everyone to put these browsers on so that they can survey, at a bare minimum, keep an eye on where your traffic is and where
see what you're spending your money on, things like that as well. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow, good stuff. Yeah, because there's today we're talking a bit about a lot of things, and this is how it goes with Jeff and I. We're just going to go with the flow. Ultimately, though, about how they have created a generation of degenerates. We're seeing that.
Yeah.
And every generation has its issues. I'm Generation X. We had ours, God knows, but and we still do. But there's something is different. I've done a lot of videos in the millennials. Jeff's covered this subject a lot. I've seen some really interesting things coming out of Generation Z, though. It's giving me hope. There's this funny video I saw of a handful of little 10-year-old kids that made this diss track on Cardi B, and it got her so mad she went on Instagram cursing at these kids, screaming, and it was just 5 little 10-year-old kids just making a funny little diss track and calling her out for being fake, and they're smarter than her, and it's just it's good to see that, because to me that's of course that kind of Illuminati entertainment, if you will, and it's always nice to see people, especially young ones, calling that out. But the millennials, though, man, they're plenty of stories to come out of the millennial generation that are of interest, I think.
I wonder, though, for a second there, if Generation Z might have a different meaning.
Oh, well, yeah, what do you think?
Generation Zombie?
Oh, that's good. Perhaps. Perhaps.
If you've noticed, all the sort of media stories dealing with cannibalism and how we could save the climate by eating humans. This is something I've been covering over the past week or so. But not to get off track, because I do want to address what's happening massively. This is what I do a lot on my channels, is talking about the mind control of the youth. Of all of us. All of us are being programmed all the time, and we have been for generations. There's nothing new. Our entertainment has always been about programming us into the New World Order. And it's become increasingly so. When you think of these mega corporations, Disney is an excellent example, because people may not know this. They may think that they're watching Marvel movies or reading Marvel comic books, that's just Marvel. Or they may think that they're watching Star Wars and that's just Star Wars. Or they may think that they're watching NFL football and that's just NFL. Or they may think that they're watching ABC News and that's just ABC News. It's all Disney. Disney is one of the largest corporations in the world. There are 5 major media corporations that control everything, and they are all pushing the exact same agendas. And so in the past there was a lot more when you think about the media, like you say back to 1950, say, even in the era of William Randolph Hearst, there was over 500 media corporations. And all these corporations had to kind of compete with each other, so they were all trying to one-up each other and expose each other, and that was good, because that made competition and it kept people more honest.
Right.
Now we're in a completely, we have the Mockingbird media sort of thing, right? Where it was admitted in the 1970s that basically all your media is controlled by the CIA. So we're in a different realm now, where mega corporations control pretty much everything when it comes to your entertainment.
Did you see who bought Fox News?
Yeah, it was it Disney?
Disney, right?
Exactly.
So right after they did, within a month, you started seeing more negative coverage towards Trump. They brought on Donna Brazile as a talking head. It got really interesting. So
well, that's it. They control ABC News as well. So
right.
They have, and so Disney has thousands of affiliates. You're talking magazines, you're talking radio shows, television shows around the world, movie studios, video game studios. The list is endless. And then mega franchises like Marvel, DC, like Marvel and DC. They're both controlled by Disney. You might think, well, I like Marvel. Marvel's better than DC, or I'm more into DC. I like Batman. He's more real. It's the same. It's the same beast. It's Disney.
Yeah.
And then you think Star Wars, and then people, everybody is really freaking out about Star Wars and the feminism and all the the SJW, right? Well, that's Disney. It's Disney that controls Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And many of your controversies are manufactured, and they're there to create all this sort of, like, this is the reality too. Like, one thing that I try to illustrate to people is that even your controversies are completely manufactured. Like, we're in a contained world. If we're in their box, if we're in their realm, and we're consuming their products, their foods, their entertainment, their beverages, right? We're in their controlled realm. And whatever happens in there, he says, she says, one corporation called another, it's all the same, it's all controlled. So, like, the only real solution for all of humanity is to completely reject Hollywood, completely reject the corporate media, and turn to independent, proven independent sort of people like ourselves, right, that are not controlled or affiliated with any of these corporations. Because
I'd even extend that into the healthcare system as well, as much as a person can. Break free from that and go back to the old ways the best you can. The herbs, herbal remedies, the natural ways, things that God gave us.
Yeah, like homesteading, having your own vegetables, fruits and vegetables, even domesticated animals, taking control of your own food production. Everything. I mean, like, we should be going back. If we want to go forward, we need to go back, because where it's going with the surveillance state alone, with the facial recognition and everything that's being rolled out, the brain chips are next, all these things are coming. We are being programmed, and I talked about this last night, we're being programmed into a hive mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you see this everywhere, this programming. Like, they talked about it, or they showed it years back on Star Trek: The Next Generation, the Borg. We're not that far from the Borg. They're already implementing these brain chips.
It's interesting too, just kind of on a side note with that, one of the ways I always noticed the way that people are programmed through entertainment was when The Office was really popular. I watched The Office a lot as well. But in those years, I remember everybody would use those jokes, they'd tell a joke on The Office one night, and then for 2 years, somebody says that joke at every party you're at, every time you bump into someone at the coffee, at work. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it happens, and you really see it happen. Now, I've noticed that people are starting their sentences a lot with "so." Like, so here's what happened, or this is when I gotta be careful, because sometimes I start doing that because I take in so much media myself doing what I do. I know you do too. We have to be careful of the programming,
Oh, absolutely. And it's all pushing the same agendas, without a doubt. All of them are pushing the same agendas.
Part of the dumbing down as well, like, the like word. When I was in film school especially, I noticed myself saying that a lot, because I was around people who kept saying like, and then like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like saying this like way too much, so. Yeah.
Well, the deconstruction of language, okay, so they're lowering everyone's IQ. This is very important for people to understand this. With the genetically modified foods and all the chemicals, the aspartame and all the, the synthetic foods, the synthetic meats that they're making now, the lab-grown meats, all these things are working to deconstruct what we are. The average IQ now is dipped below 100. This is perfect for their control. They don't want a thinking population. If they had a critically thinking population, everybody would smash their televisions and go outside and actually communicate with real human beings, is what we should all be doing. It doesn't mean we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't believe in rejecting technology, for instance, because it's a double-edged sword, right? It can be used for good or it can be used for bad, just like guns, right? We don't reject guns because they're very useful tools. But the thing is that who controls the technology and what are they using it for? Mass surveillance, massive program, massive social engineering. So this is where we get to when we're talking about the social conditioning of the children, of the teens, which is happening unbelievable. I mean, it's out of this world what is going on. How they are conditioning kids, how they are programming kids into degeneracy. Like the title of your podcast here, how they created a culture of degenerates. Well, they use Star Wars, Marvel, all these things. your cartoons. I mean, now it is normal. It's all over the place. Like you can just look it up. Go on Google if you know. I don't recommend using the V system, but if you can use Google and you can just put drag story time, and you'll find in your own town, your own city, where they have drag story times, where they have drag people coming in and reading and stories to children. And then putting them up on their laps and dancing with them. I showed this recently where they had it in Ottawa, and it was actually on Satan Drive.
No way, they're doing it in Canada. They're doing it in Canada too, on Satan Drive.
Oh my God, yeah.
What a manifestation that is.
So, think about this, KJ. The CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, which I call the Canadian Brainwashing Corporation, has a series right now that's on prime time called Drag Kids.
Oh boy! Oh no! So they have a series about it now? Because I knew about Desmond, and I've heard of some of these.
Desmond is amazing. Lactatia and many more of these people these kids. I mean, I feel nothing but sympathy for the kids because obviously they have been conditioned from day one into doing this type of stuff. But there's a primetime show. There's another show that CBC also has on primetime, which is called Butterfly, and it's about a family coping with their male to female little child transitioning.
Oh, you're kidding! No. Wow. Man, I've been dealing a lot with butterflies and Monarch this week with my video because I'm dropping one this weekend on Britney Spears that wound up becoming huge with a lot of information. And yeah, the Monarch stuff's fascinating, of course, but they actually have a show called unbelievable.
Yes. And it gets worse too because there's RuPaul's Drag Tots, which is a cartoon about toddlers that are drag. And we have now more and more, like at the Ontario school.
Are you serious? So RuPaul has drag. Is it a cartoon or a real show?
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Okay. I think I've heard the cartoon.
It's a cartoon for children.
For a second, I thought you had said it was a real show with real children. I was like, good boy. There we go.
Next year.
Honestly, surprised.
No, I mean, well, I told you, there's drag kids here in Canada. So in Canada, on the main, it's publicly funded. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is funded by Canadian taxpayers, 100%. And they have a primetime show called Drag Kids, which features Desmond is Amazing, Lactatia, and a whole bunch of other drag kids that are dressing up in drag. And what they're doing, and I showed this years back when I used to cover this back in 2015, where you had Desmond is Amazing, you had Lactatia in Montreal, downtown Montreal, in the gay village at night, dancing on a one of those runway stages, doing spread eagle dances to grown men who were hooting and hollering in a dress.
And throwing dollars. I think I saw something where he was dancing one time at a gay club and they were putting dollars in his shorts and stuff, right?
And there was a recent one where Lactatia was in New York City and it had a giant rainbow, of course, because that's all rainbow unicorn programming, right? And he was on a stage dancing, like it was on a stage, sprawled out on the stage and like lying down with his arms and legs spread out, and there was like a 40-year-old man that was rubbing his thigh.
Oh goodness! Wow.
Yes.
Well, it really is. I also call it kind of the Baphomet reality. We're seeing a lot of this trans stuff is Baphomet related.
Yes.
We've seen that with the statue that the Satanic Temple's been putting out there with the two children next to it. With the Baphomet, and of course, Childhood's End. That series comes to mind. So. It really is about, and I always say just the bigger picture is, it really is about the destruction and theft of innocence and purity. That's really what they're after.
That is part of it. But there is a much bigger thing that's coming from it, okay? And I've been showing this for a very long time. Okay, so yes, one of the things that they're trying to do is they're trying to destroy sexual reproduction. They want to take complete control of human reproduction. They don't want us to reproduce anymore. So they've deconstructed the family. All right. Now this goes way back to the Frankfurt School. I mean, this is a long time coming. This all ties into Agenda 21 as well. So the deconstruction of the family is everywhere. Everywhere you look, your blockbuster movies, you'll never see a happy family or a family. You're always broken families, always divorced families and stepfathers, stepdads, and nobody gets along in the family. The kids are always in control. The kids are always smarter than the parents. The parents are always, witless and the kids are much smarter. This is all, Hollywood type programming. The deconstruction of the family is everywhere. It's been in your television shows, Two and a Half Men, Three Men, One Baby, all this stuff for so long. They have weaved it in. So they've been deconstructing the family. They're taking control of human reproduction. The Baphomet is very telling. It's very telling because ultimately what we're looking at, we have a convergence of many things here. When we talk about the brain chips coming in, we're talking about transhumanism. We're talking also about the CRISPR babies. Do you know about the CRISPR babies?
I do, and that's another one. A bit of info I'm putting into a DARPA video, but please go ahead and tell the audience.
Yes, so CRISPR is a new technique that they're using, growing babies basically in labs, allowing people to choose what they want their baby to be, basically. This would be reserved for elites, essentially, right? And this is where it's going. In the future, only elites will be allowed to reproduce. And likely, many of us, much like Aldous Huxley predicted, right, in A Brave New World, that there'll be different caste systems, there'll be different types of humans that are born. So what we're going to see with the transgenderism is a precursor to the trans species. This is already happening. They're already doing this in China, where they're growing, human monkey hybrids and
absolutely, yeah.
So
it's crazy.
All this is happening, right? So the Baphomet, in many ways, what is like a representation of a future human, where they're fusing the female and the male together, sort of thing. And this is taking control of human reproduction so that humans don't reproduce anymore. For so long, they have been turning, like the whole pride thing. Of course, pride is a sin. That's why it's an inverse. Everything is an inverse. Just like
and the converse with the rainbow on the sole of the shoe now. You're stepping on God's creation.
Exactly. It's all an inverse. The clown world that they have created. Everywhere you look, you're going to see clowns these days because this is all part of how they are breaking down civilization. They are deconstructing what we are. They are, and they're targeting the youth because if they can get into the youth, get in the classrooms, and confuse the youth as early as possible. So like the Ontario School Board, if you send your kid to school in Ontario, which is the most populated province in Canada, at 6 years old, they're told in class that you're a girl or you're a boy, you might actually be the opposite sex. So just because you're a boy and you have a penis, you might actually be a girl. So they're actually doing this programming. At 8 years old, they're teaching them about homosexuality and anal sex. At 11, they're giving them graphic depictions of anal sex. This is I showed in Alberta, another big province in Canada, I showed how the school board released this sex ed curriculum featuring, and it's like a cartoon guide featuring animals, that was teaching kids 11 years old about, I don't even want to say it, scatology?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
You mean a doo-doo type?
Yeah.
Mixing with sex, right?
Yeah, pissing, fisting,
Unreal.
taking crystal meth,
What?
other drugs. Yes.
And this is for the kids?
Yes.
Wow.
This was actually given to kids. This is 100% true. These things are happening right now.
Why aren't the parents rebelling, or are they? I mean, are there?
They are.
Okay, good.
There was a big controversy with that, but it gets swept under the rug.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there's bigger news. Tom Cruise has a new movie coming out.
Yeah, exactly. It works,
Top
right?
Gun Part 2.
People they manufacture controversies every day. That's what I warn people about. Like most of the stuff that you get irate about in the news, that's all controlled. You're meant to get irate. You're meant to react to it.
Oh
But
yeah,
they're distracting you. It's a sleight of hand. What are they doing with the other hand while you're reacting to their manufactured chaos?
Yeah, and Trump is the master troll. You make me think of when you say that. He's really good at that as well. Look at all the chaos he can create by a sentence,
Exactly. Think about it. First they come in with Obama. Okay, so what is Obama? Well, Obama black, right? But really he's mulatto, but forget about that. And he's more articulate, and he's much more liberal, and
media
he's
loves
way
him,
more
of course.
diplomatic, and he's loved by other leaders of the world. Then they purposely bring in Trump, So what does Trump represent? He represents the white privilege. The guy born with the silver spoon up his twat, never had a hard day in his life, always been a multi-millionaire, declared bankruptcy 6, 7, 8 times, whatever, right? I mean, the guy is the perfect polarizer. He's got terrible hair, he screams of white privilege, and he's a misogynist, and he's this and that. He's been perfect. He's a perfect actor to divide and conquer. There's no way that America can unite behind Trump.
Wow,
No way.
I can totally see the chat. I'm not watching chat, but I bet it's probably spinning like a wheel right now. But because, and I'm glad you're going there and saying this too, and you're sharing your opinion on this as well. The Trump issue, man, it's almost like kind of the flat earth issue. It's a very divisive issue in the truth movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very divisive, but still, like, that's where people just have to clamp down and understand there's different approaches to this, there's different opinions on this.
Yeah.
And you have to just roll with it, man, because Trump has done a couple cool things, but, I'm working on a video about the beast system coming together and stuff, and, like, because of him, there's a lot of these factors coming into play. Now, you could say he's ignorant, but I don't know, because I've found 4 or 5 things that aren't going to be good for humanity that he's backing right now, but we'll see.
Well, I would put it this way. This is my opinion, okay? First of all, please understand, whatever I'm saying, that's my opinion. It's not, fact or anything like that. It's just the way I see it. What I would say is this, is that your leaders have always been selected. You've never really had any choice. In fact, Really Graceful put up an amazing video the other day talking about how all of your presidents, all of them can be traced to British royalty. All of them are related. They're bloodlines. And this is for every single one of them.
I've seen
no
that.
exception. No exception. So what I believe, folks, good people listening to this, is that your leaders play roles. They're actors. That they're chosen to play a role. And I believe that Trump was chosen because he's the ultimate polarizer. He will always be hated by the left. There will be no compromise whatsoever. And, this is a perfect divide and conquer, because this is exactly what they're doing to us. They're dividing us in every way, shape, and form. Everything, they're I've never seen anything like it. Since Trump has been in power, the division in the United States, the gap is wider than the Grand Canyon. There is no compromise between the left and the right. And this is all orchestrated, in my opinion. It's all orchestrated. So I believe that Trump has to do things to appease his core sort of supporters, right? And those would be identified mostly as white, Christian, patriots and stuff like that, right? Who are slandered every single day in your media. Who controls your media, right? So, you know how white people are open season. You can't be racist towards white people. You can say anything you want. You can say they're the worst people ever, that they're, privileged, that we'd be better off without them. You can say anything you want about white people. But you can't say anything you want about other peoples.
Right.
And there's certain peoples that you can't say anything about. And this is because
they really love pushing that narrative with that. And again, they're pushing a civil war narrative this last couple of years as well. So
exactly, the divide and conquer, the blue and red, this is everywhere. You noticed when Trump was inaugurated, what did the other leaders wear? What did Hillary Clinton wear? Do you remember this? The Trump inauguration?
Was it the pink hats, or is that something else?
No, it was purple.
Oh, interesting. Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not just Saturn, and that's very important to put up. Herb L. Saturn, right? It is. But even more telling is when you mix blue and red together, what do you get?
Purple.
That's it. They
Right.
all serve the same. This is what they're telling you, is that it's all a show. That's what I believe. It's all a big show.
I'm with it. That red-blue color coding comes from the Masonic lodges, and it's in everything. So I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are being played all the time. I mean, CNN, Fox News, it's a circus. It's a dog and pony show. It's just there to occupy you and anger you and take away your energy, right? just like these events that they choreograph all the time, and these controversies that they make. Every week there's controversies that are, okay, what's this week? What are we putting out? What's going out? That's the way I see it. That we are controlled and manipulated. And it gets worse every year. Their control grid grows. Just like our surveillance grid is growing out of control. I mean, most people are oblivious to it. It's like, like people get an iPhone or something, and they're using their face to open their phone. They don't even realize the consequences of that.
Well, that also goes back to Trump, because I believe there's a story that just came out where he's considering, I don't know if this is true or not, have you heard about this? He's considering the social credit system for America with these red band laws or red flag laws.
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yes, of course, I covered this.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the red flag laws, and of course the gun control. So these are major objectives of the NWO. And look, it's not even a conspiracy. Look, go to United Nations headquarters in New York City, and what's the big statue that they have out in front?
It's a twisted gun, right?
Exactly. They want to disarm everyone. They don't want anybody to have it. Look, I mean, where we're going is scary, all right? And everyone should be adamantly in favor of the Second Amendment. And I mean universally. I mean every country in the world should have their own Second Amendment, because that's the only thing that's going to save us from tyranny ultimately, right? And that's the whole purpose of what the Second Amendment was. But they are trying to destroy that. So that so much of your programming, your movies, your television shows is all about like all of these agendas, all of them. Like I have such a hard time, KJ, watching anything like movies or television shows, because I just see so many agendas being pushed, and I'm like, oh no, oh yeah, she's a lesbian. Oh no, he's gay.
Oh gosh, that is the most predominant. I mean, I just noticed the other day there's a TV show on CBS called FBI. So it's like, oh great, they have like their own show where again they're come off of the heroes, and they're here to protect America, and I mean that's what all this stuff is, but as far as that there's always a gay character, that's something that always annoys me. And just being honest, it's like everything I watch, there always has to be that slant, there always has to be that character. When it's forced on you, it's too much. Like, we get it, guys, but that's just part of the programming of it. They just want to keep bathing you in pushing this agenda for a population that's under, I believe, well under 4%. I've heard 2%, but that much of the population of the earth, that they get 98% of the play, in entertainment.
Oh yeah, that's all by design, though. That's the inverse, the clown world. Everything is being turned inside out, right? They're changing the definition of what sexual reproduction is. Really, it's just the birds, the bees, the flowers, and the trees. All species are the same. We all have the male and the female for the most part, and we all have to procreate. So they're destroying monogamy. This is very important for people to understand. They don't want you to ever think that, oh yeah, I should just settle down and have a family. They want you to embrace narcissism. So this is a big part of what is in your title there. The programming of the youth, all right? We went back in 2013, we talked about this in a podcast where the word of the year was selfie. You know how Oxford Dictionary or whatever puts out, this is the word of the year, the new word that has, blossomed and taken over. The product of the year was the selfie stick. So what we talked about then, and what I still talk about to this day, is that narcissism is being programmed. Narcissism goes hand in glove with the rainbow. It goes hand in glove, not with God's rainbow, not.
That was a trick right there. They tricked or treat. Oh, it's not plugged in anymore, dummy.
right, guys, I'm in my super sick car and I'm at my super sick mansion, and then, oh wait, I'm in an alley in Pittsburgh getting out of my Volkswagen Golf. Kale, what do you got to say to the people right now?
I got to tell you a little bit about Amazon FBA, and most of the time the gurus are there with their girls and the boobs are out and they got the Ferraris. But what I got is a whiteboard and a Volkswagen, okay? So here's the thing, guys.
It's a frog. Alright, there's a frog with a lightning bug in his stomach.
He just ate it.
He just ate it?
You've got to be kidding me. Are you? You've got to be kidding me. Are you? Holy. You've got to be kidding me. Are you?
Go, Jim Murray.
And go. Do your arms. There you go.
Grandpa's getting ready to cut this rabbit loose from the fence.
The rabbit's all stuck.
Now he'll really be able to get in. Ooh. goes.
They were so nice to me, though. Like, she asked me, what song, any song you want to listen to? Any artist? Really? I said, really, anything? And she's like, anything. And so I said I wanted to listen to ABBA because I'm the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17. I'll have it only for one more month.
Oh, they're fast. That shit is hilarious.
Oh, they're right there. Look, look. Look. Oh, they're probably hauling butt. They are. Look at them. It is.
Okay, you need to back up.
You putting it in race mode? Get it. Oh.
What's he got? The toe? Oh, give me that. Give me that back. Give me you little thief. Oh, he's growling now. Is that the toe? He's growling. I can't catch him. Grab his tail. Oh. Pongo, let go. Pongo, let go. Oh my goodness. Pongo. Oh.
You know how to get there?
Well, yeah, you turn on the west and go right straight to Bear Creek, and you get on the 6 Mile road, and then you turn back on the 1 mile. You know Bear Creek Road, you turn on the 6 Mile, and go back on where he's at. And then you go on 1 mile, and you go on 1 mile, and then you go on this mile to 1 mile.
Just give a shout out to all the moms out there, some bad mojos. Oh! What's wrong? You're making me cuss.
Okay.
What'd you have it on? It had to be a 10.
That was the 10.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What is happening? Oh, she's about to bounce that shit.
Boom! I got it on camera.
The Hyundai Palisade.
Gotcha.
For your extended family, your fandom family, and your family family. No matter how you family, it's better in the first ever 8-passenger Hyundai Palisade.
Happy birthday, dear Sawyer. Happy birthday to you. Yay, blow it out.
Wait.
Go down close to it.
Put it to your mouth. Yeah.
Uh-oh, careful. Blow it out.
Oh my god. This is wild. They're all over the floor. There's a bunch of dead ones all over the floor.
Look at the pump handles.
Oh my god. I wouldn't touch that even for $1 million.
Solamente en Cristo.
Solamente en Él la salvación se encuentra en Él, no hay otro nombre dado a los hombres, solamente en Cristo, solamente en Él. Oh, qué precioso regalo Cristo nos dio.
Okay, so Lee wanted me to get the chainsaw fixed, and so I did, and now he's blaming me for this.
No, that's not the point. Oh.
Oh God.
Thank you. I was making a mess. I was just rainbow color. I don't know what do I look like.
Push him. Push him.
Oh my goodness. You guys better be happy I'm a nice person. Especially you, because other people would just kill you. Go ahead. It's okay. I'm just going to tilt you over. Ugh. There you go, little one.
Okay, don't you want to keep any squash for yourself?
Oh. Oh my god. Oh! Right there! Oh! Oh my gosh! Oh! Heck yeah!
Kojarzysz czoki? Będzie gazet na dziób, ja mam czoki. Oh.
sideways too soon, literally gonna flip. Oh no! No! Oh no!
Get up the side.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh, it broke!
Oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God.
That sucks.
Oh.
Wow.
Holy. Det gør det i hvert fald ikke. Nøj!
There will be feasting and dancing in Jerusalem next year. I am gonna make it through this year. If it kills me, I am gonna.
Super Nintendo emulator. Super Nintendo. Okay.
Want to try wasabi?
No.
Do you want to try it?
No.
Okay.
Wasabi.
Do you want to try it? Smell it. Smell it first.
Help.
Just send it. How was it? Oh my God! Oh, we got a fish!
Whoa, whoa! Ah! You mother... Why the are you looking at your phone, officer? I got a text from the other officer. Give me a second. All right. Why are you texting? I don't care if you're texting. I wasn't texting. I was looking at my phone. Either way. Yeah, I know. That's my bad. Why are you doing that in a turn? I wasn't paying attention. Officer, holy dude.
Aquí en Comer City. Como podemos ver, aquí en Comer City.
Tick tock, tick, tick tock, tick. I like this. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down, tick.
I'm timeless, like my clothes. Love's mannequin. Comfortable. Not really, but I look hot.